Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to today's session of Lead Sites Live. We are coming at you, obviously from New Mexico. I am joined today by a really special guest. His name is Andrew Patch. He is with Heartland Drone Company. We've actually done a webinar with this gentleman before where we really kind of got in depth with, why kind of having drone photography is a really important and integral part of your business right now with kind of any video content that you might be capturing, and then also B, like how you can do that. So we actually have a really detailed webinar that I will be dropping the link to in the chat here on the side, and then it will also be in the description down below this video, where we kind of go over all that. Andrew, why don't you go ahead and say hi?
Hey, good to be here. Glad we can connect again. I know that lots happen in the world, but it's great to hear your voice and talk about drones.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm really happy that we could kind of get you in. The thrust of a lot of what we've been talking about recently on these webinars and the questions that we've been getting from agents is, we're seeing a very rapidly shifting and kind of adapting landscape right now for folks. And some things that you might not, or that you might have really relied on, some of those kind of face-to-face aspects of your business are now restricted, not really sure when we're kind of going to be, opening things back up to that kind of thing. So, we have really been focusing on just ideas for what agents can do digitally, what they can do from their home, what they can do remotely, what they can do solo maybe to create content and all that good stuff. So I think we can probably just talk a little bit about drone photography in general if you want, Andrew, and just, kind of get your take on, what's it look like right now, for your business? Are you seeing like a little bit of an uptick in folks in demand of your service, in light of the recent events? How are things going?
Well, I appreciate you asking. I thought that my drone business would take a hit because my core customers are real estate, residential, commercial, land, and then also the construction industry. And so I thought that I was going to be taking a major hit because you hear about real estate being heavily affected right now by the global pandemic that we're facing. And then also in the construction industry, you have construction sites that are literally shutting down, grinding to a halt. So I thought, I was going to take a big hit. And so there was a lot of uncertainty there for a couple of weeks. It's actually, thankful, but it's actually been the busiest I have ever been. And the reason for that is because these clients that I'm working with are realizing the importance, or they already knew the importance of what drone imaging can do for their business, and the power of the virtual walkthrough, and so I'm in high demand right now, and so it's a good feeling. I'm thankful, but happy to help other people, who are maybe struggling with the same type of challenge with their business, to help them understand that hey, this is a tool right now that if you haven't used it before, then you should really consider using it now, because the world is changing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's, I'm, really glad to hear that, you haven't seen, things totally drop off. It is kind of interesting, to kind of follow this day by day and kind of see how the industry is evolving. So, so you've actually seen a little bit more demand. So are you just doing standard, kind of aerial shots for, residential listings and these commercial listings? Or are you also, kind of getting in the actual listings themselves and doing, like walkthroughs with the cameras on the units?
Sure. Yeah. No, both. So from a commercial standpoint, right now, there's no better time from an accessibility standpoint, from a safety standpoint, to get out and fly these locations, these commercial locations, because I'm not having to deal with pedestrians or any safety issues that you would have if there's, during store hours, if a commercial property doesn't want you on their site, ideally, capturing during that time of the day, then, well, now I can go any time of the day. And I've had real estate agents say, hey, can we somehow avoid showing an empty parking lot?
Right, sure.
Because that's just the fact of the matter. Just today, I was filming 115 acres. It was a commercial site, and there's a movie theater next door. There's a sit-down restaurant next door, and of course they have giant empty parking lots. So you just get a little bit more creative on how you tell that story.
Right.
You don't necessarily focus on the wide shot that shows the empty parking lot. You can do tight shots of the buildings that just show the mezzanine or the logo on the building, or just the profile of the building. So there's ways around that, and it's you just have to line up and get the right shot. But to answer your question, from a commercial standpoint, from residential and from land, I'm doing a lot of external stuff with the drone, and then I'm also going inside in some of these cases too, and doing interior shots too, because even with residential and commercial, now I'm not having to walk through a building that's full of people that normally they would say, hey, we can't have you here during working hours because it's full, and it's a liability of people on camera. Well, now it's empty, so I can wander around in there and make sure I sanitize as I'm going.
Of course, make sure you have your PPE on, and you're kind of doing all that good stuff for sure.
I've got my.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah. How are you kitted out for these when you're kind of going into these spaces? That's a good point.
Well, usually I'm just turned loose to where there's not somebody with me. If somebody is with me, we do the social distancing.
Sure.
I wear a mask, and I've got wipies, I've got hand sanitizer and all that stuff. But typically when I'm going through businesses or homes, it's just planned out ahead of time that's when I'm going to be there. I can get access. Here's the great thing. It goes pretty quick. Like I'm not having to spend a ton of time going through a house. You can walk through a house and capture a video walkthrough using a drone. You can hold that drone and walk through a house, and the footage that you're going to get off of that drone is going to be so awesome that you don't have to stay there forever and line everything up. It's just it's pretty slick.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, and it's like definitely that added benefit of having, the locations be a little bit emptier than they would be typically is kind of a part of that. That's some very kind of neat insight in that regard. So now you kind of hit a point right there, which I think is pretty cool. You're talking about some of that interior walkthrough style shots. Now, I think a lot of agents that are watching this and listening right now are definitely going to be interested in, like a little bit of that and kind of, like what goes into capturing a good internal walkthrough. And you said something a little bit earlier, which really kind of pinged my interest. You said you were talking about telling the story of the location with some of those exterior shots. So would you have any tips for folks that, even if they're not using a drone camera, maybe they have a GoPro or something like that, or even their iPhone, tips for, how to do an effective kind of walkthrough tour to capture that footage?
Yeah, I think the first thing is just slow and steady. Just nice, slow, easy movements. Whether you're standing in the corner of a dining room or the corner of a bedroom and you want to pan, from left to right to capture that, just slow and steady movements and capture multiple shots or do multiple passes of that part of the house. So if I'm wanting to capture the kitchen, right, I'll stand in one corner. I'll using my phone. Heck, I could capture a slow pan and then do one going back the other way, and then move to another spot in the kitchen and capture another one and go again the other way. And so it just do those nice gradual sweeping motions, rather than just holding it in front of you and walking around everywhere where it's all herky jerky.
Right.
Almost like a paintbrush. You're slowly painting back and forth. So
Yes.
what you're going to do from that is you're going to capture nice smooth footage, and then when you go to edit that, you can just cut those out, and those are what get, that's what you keep, and the rest, just falls on the cutting room floor, so to speak.
Right.
But that would be my first tip, is just take your time, nice, slow, easy movements. And then, another tip of telling that story, I mean, that's, don't be afraid to narrate too. Do voiceover.
Yeah.
Yeah. In this case, you're the agent. You're telling the story of the house, so don't be afraid to capture that voiceover narration. But if it's hard for you to do that while you're filming, then you can capture all your footage. Then at the end, as you're editing your footage and you're looking through it, that's when you can record an audio track. That's your voice. And now you can actually speak to what's in the video. So now, really easily, very simply, you now have footage of the house, and then you've got some voiceover, and then you can just combine those two elements to create, pretty informative video.
Yeah, like a great walkthrough. So, so I'm assuming you typically do most of these things during the day to kind of use that natural lighting that comes in. Do you ever do a double shot where you might cover a particular, maybe if there's, something that would look like really striking, like at night in particular, or do you generally just kind of keep everything during the day?
Well, normally I'm capturing during the day, but in some cases there might be a house that or a commercial site where they really want to show off the beautiful sunset, or if there's lighting outside.
Yes.
They want to capture the lighting that they have around the landscaping and whatnot. So I'll go around dusk, shortly after dusk, to capture some of those shots, and that's just adjusting settings on the drone, or in post-production when you go into edit, you can just kind of tune those up. But that's kind of more in the line of, if you're comfortable doing editing, then you're going to be able to pull shots off like that.
That's fantastic. So yeah, so kind of basically the idea is that you're getting, nice, slow, steady shots of basically every room in the house, maybe taking some notes for, what that narration might be after the fact. I think having a narration of the video is a great idea. I've definitely seen a lot of virtual walkthroughs that are just have music and no narration in particular, and then they use subtitles, but I kind of like that idea of the agent, kind of telling you what you're seeing and commenting on specific types of things, especially now because we're not really sure, if you are in an area where you are unable or prevented from doing walkthroughs from your typical house. I think that could be pretty important to kind of have your own commentary added to it.
Yeah. And I think if you had to choose between an audio track and narration from the agent, do narration, because it's substance.
Yeah.
It's talking about the house and the listing, and if buyers are watching this, on their phone or on their iPad or on their laptop, they don't really care about fancy music. Then, just if you have audio that's substance, talking about the listing in the area or the house or anything interesting about the house, that is good content because it has substance to it.
Yes.
And I will say, backing up a sec, when you are going and capturing, and capture multiple times in each part of the house and pick out the very best of the best footage. But
of course.
But yeah, you kind of touched on it of, lighting, and, try to make sure that there's enough lighting as possible in the house. And you'll see when you're either looking through the viewfinder on your phone or through a camera, or, if you're holding a drone and you're looking at it, through the viewfinder of the drone, you'll be able to see, depending on the angle that you're standing in the room, how it's catching light, it might totally oversaturate or really jack with the shot. So, just position yourself the right way, but just take your time. And then, you do one listing, you look at the footage and you think, man, okay, So I got the first one under my belt. You go do another one and you're going to move twice as fast. And
Oh, yeah.
it's a pretty quick learning curve.
Absolutely. One thing that just came to mind is, so if you were doing like exterior shots drone and then kind of bring it inside for interior shots, are you using, because I have like an iPhone 11 and it has that wide angle, kind of lens feature to it. Would you recommend like a wide angle type shot like that, or just kind of keep it nice and straight so that it would look best on all devices?
That's a good question. I always default to whatever the standard settings are on the
Gotcha.
on the phone. Like if you're
Gotcha.
using your phone to capture, just use the standard settings. If you're using a drone, use the standard settings. Because if you try to, if you're not used to doing that and adjusting settings, then you risk tuning them up too much or
Yes.
tuning them down too much, and then you're coming away with bad footage. So I always like to just default on just capture in the standard format, standard aspect ratio. I operate a drone company, and most, if not all, of my video shoots and photography shoots that I do with the drone, I'm capturing it in just the native format.
Beautiful.
And all of my editing comes in post-production.
Right on. So, okay, so that's a great point. So, we've kind of touched on editing a little bit. I would love to, kind of pivot, to something that Andrew has told me about, which I think is super cool. You guys as agents out there right now, you may have captured some of this footage. You do a walk through the house, you get couple different angles of each room, multiply that by, 6, 7 rooms. And then all of a sudden you've got like 25, 30 minutes of footage maybe. Andrew definitely has some tips for editing, but he also has a really fabulous service that I'd like him to talk a little bit about too.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. So one of the challenges that I hear from a lot of real estate agents is, hey, I can go through and I can capture video of a house. I can use the drone outside. I can walk through the house with the drone, or I can take my iPhone and capture 4K resolution, footage with the iPhone inside, but I can't edit it. And so that's usually where they stop, right? They can capture the footage, but they don't know how to edit. And it's not hard to capture footage. It is hard to edit. And for a lot of people, that can be very intimidating. So I've been hearing this from real estate agents and from other clients of mine that I work with over the last couple of years. And so we've actually created a platform. The name of the platform is called Brand Hustle, BRANDHSTL, brandhustle.com. And if you're a real estate agent and you go out and capture your own video and photography, you can go to this platform, drop your footage into the platform, and on the other side of it is a global community of freelance video editors. So if you're a real estate agent, you can capture your footage of a listing or your entire portfolio, go to the platform. Every video project is created as a contest, right? So you would take your footage, create a contest, and that gets opened up to our entire community of freelancers who are professional videographers, professional graphic designers. They see your contest and they attack it like piranhas in a tank. And the contest runs for a series of days. As freelancers create their submits, you get to look at it as the real estate agent. You can look at every person's submit. You can provide feedback. They can go back and do a round of editing and tuning it up to make sure it's what you want. At the end of it, you pick the winner, and the winning freelancer will then send you the final video file for you to have and upload across your different platforms or real estate websites. And then the freelancer who won the contest, they get a portion of the payout. So for a real estate agent, it's like drag and drop. you know, you go out and capture the footage, which capturing the footage, again, it's not that hard, and you get pretty good at it after just doing it for a little while. It's a great tool to have in your toolkit for a real estate agent, because you can get very professional quality videos created for, you know, very inexpensive. And for freelancers, at a time right now when freelancers are struggling for work, it is a virtual job board that they can work on these video projects and you know, have some income to you know, add to their book of business. But
yeah, absolutely. I think that's such a fabulous idea, Andrew, because like you said, like, you know, capturing the footage is something that is really within reach of, you know, basically everybody. It's, you know, most folks have a smartphone in their pocket that can take 4K video. It's like if you have an iPhone or even, you know, Androids have this capability too. So getting that raw, you know, footage together is something that the agent can do on their own very easily. And then just kind of offloading that time spent editing to somebody else via this platform, via Brand Hustle, I just think is such a boon for folks that are out there, because learning how to edit or taking the time to edit and having maybe even the computer program to enable you to edit is, you know, that's kind of where that hurdle is. That might prevent you from having, you know, like you might get the footage and then 2 weeks goes by and like, oh no, I didn't get to edit the video. Like, you know, that's not a position you want to be in. So we're going to link, you know, up with some resources for that. So, you know, you folks watching this can get a little bit more information on Brand Hustle for sure.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris. And I'll add to that. So EasyAgentPro, you know, we love the relationship that we've had with you guys the last couple of years, and, you know, being on your podcast, and I would love to have real estate agents come to the website, brandhustle.com. And right now we are in the process of finalizing the last minute pieces of the build for the platform. We're about to launch it. But if you go to brandhustle.com, fill out your information. It's first name, last name, email address, you know, click the checkbox to say that you would be a client, right? And then there's a free text box. Say that you heard this on the Easy Agent Pro podcast, and send us your information, because I'm going to randomly select 3 of your real estate listeners, randomly select them to have a free video created for them. So if you have real estate agents out there who are listening to this right now, go to brandhustle.com, enter in your information, and I am going to be randomly selecting 3 real estate agents to create a video contest for each one of y'all. Assuming that you have footage, you got to go get footage.
Gotta get footage.
And then gotta get the footage. But let us know that you heard about it on the Easy Agent Pro podcast, and we'll hook you up and try to generate a lot of momentum with this new concept and help people along the way.
Right on. Andrew, I think that is absolutely fantastic. We definitely covered a lot here today. Like Andrew said, you know, if you guys go to Brand Hustle, the Brand Hustle website, which is just brandhstle.com, is that correct?
No E on the end.
Oh, no E at the end. HSTL. Yep. So no vowels in that second word. So brandhstle.com. And you'll see the information or the section there to kind of get submitted for that. And so 3 Easy Agent Pro agents are going to get some beautiful video footage, or video editing rather, you know, kind of completed via that. So definitely, you know, kind of pop your name in there and check that out. It's a very important time to be focusing on these digital ventures, guys. You know, there is a huge amount of bandwidth that is available out there. The people are, Karen Carr in one of our most recent webinars put it in a good way, you know, they're not a captive audience, but they're at home. And people are looking at content and looking for content. So you are still going to have buyers on the other side of this thing. So you want to make sure that you are going to be, you know, kind of giving them some really great looking content that's going to make a lot of sense, you know, for their needs. Absolutely. So Andrew, thank you so much for joining us today, man.
Thank you.
Right on.
I had a blast. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, we got some really great tips here. As always, guys, this is going to be available on our YouTube page. So if you are just joining us, it's going to be posted there. We are going to kind of be breaking down the, the main key points in the comments below, and then we'll also be dropping some links to both Heartland Drone Company and also Brand Hustle. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. And if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and reach out to me at chris@easyagentpro.com. And hopefully we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much.